you want to get the best out of the weight room or whatever your training session is. It doesn't have to be an NBA game or an NCAA, college game at Duke. It could literally be this specific thing you're doing today. And I think we were erring on the side of it before where, the sleep when I'm dead thing is funny to discuss, but grinding through it. And I'm not against the concept of that, because I think if you're successful in most things, you've worked hard to it. But I don't think you have to destroy yourself by just not sleeping. I know a lot of people like Gary Vaynerchuk, somebody who, when he first started talking about, rearranging your schedule to have your side hustle, which would then become your thing. And there was a bit of a pushback about, what about sleep? What about sleep? And so he had to counter respond to it and say, no, sleep is important too. Because I just think that, while grinding, I think pays dividends in your life, you shouldn't do it and put this badge of honor and this like stamp of approval, like bang my chest, as I sleep 3 hours a night. Well, that's great, but how are you going to feel when you're 50, 60, 70? And likely you probably won't succeed long term. And if you do, somehow it won't be sustained, because something has to give. It's just a biological necessity. So
is the NBA that way with the coaches? Because in the NFL, there's this weird badge of courage of like the coaches sleep at the office 3 nights a week, and they're up at 4 a.m, 3 a.m, 2 a.m, watching film. And there was like, when I played for Andy Reid, his whole coaching staff, like there was this like constant thing about like how many hours they were putting in. And, I only slept 3 hours last night. And I'm like, dude, first of all, the quality of your work is so fucking low after 20 hours of you like in there with your eyes closed, force feeding yourself with goldfish, like they used to sit like just snacks everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are legitimately tired. So you're functioning about 25 capacity, 25%, and then you're just shoveling food in your mouth. And it just always seemed really stupid to me, but there was always this constant badge of courage or badge of honor, I only slept 3 hours last night. I'm like, I think you're, believe me, if I'm sleeping 3 hours, it's not because I want to be watching film. It's because I want to be out having a good time.
Right.
But it's such I don't know if the NBA is like that or other professional sports, and I'm really hoping that the NFL started to change that. But man, that was really prevalent for a long time.
It's an old school thought process. And I think as good as the NFL is in a lot of ways, I think that there is a bit of a tendency sometimes to fall back on that. Plus, it's the NFL, so it's like a man's man, sport. It's like big, powerful dudes hitting each other on a side. It's a thing, and so I think that they kind of hang on to that type of stuff. In the NBA and formerly in college, I think it probably isn't perfect, and obviously I kind of speak for everybody. But I think it is a little bit better. And I think having sleep specialists brought on teams to work with players, and I would even say, taking that a step further to when sports psychologists started to become more of a presence in locker rooms, as opposed to just this thing you have in the background for when all hell breaks loose. It started to be more of a proactive thing involving people like nutritionists and psychologists and sleep scientists. I think that has and will further trickle into coaching staff and performance staff, because it's about performance, period. To shift from sleeping is lazy, shift from sleeping is weak. And in this case with players, like taking a nap is actually like, that's a good thing. And we kind of built like a little sleep room in the back, and we try to make it like, just like taking a vitamin in the morning.
Wow. Somewhere my dad's spinning in his grave. My dad used to come in, and my dad used to come in and bang on our door at 6 a.m. if we weren't up, even on the weekends, that we were lazy. And if we ever took a nap, get up, you lazy ass. And so it was this idea that somehow sleeping like past 6 a.m. in my house was like, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be late, that was I'm awesome to see the pendulum swing.
I think there's a lot of, interesting parallels with, startups and entrepreneurship too, because you have people like Elon Musk, right? Who were like, oh, Elon sleeps 4 or 5 hours.
He's an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's just push him out. Like, he's an alien.
Yeah. But that's what a lot of people bring up in like conversations, like, oh, there's Elon, there's like all these like other like, successful startup, like, business owners who are sleeping like such slow amounts of like getting low amounts of sleep, yet creating like, billion-dollar companies, whatever it is. Clearly that's what we should be doing too. And then I always tell people, it's like, well, like thousands of companies fail every day, right? And, why do you think that is? Whether it's from, conflicts in the team, people just not taking care of their, mental health, their sleep, their, physical fitness. And that's what, provides longevity. And, a lot of people, and like for us, we kind of think of, a lot of these realms, like Dan mentioned, as like performance, right? if you're like running an amazingly successful podcast or running a startup, you are like, high performers. You need to be performing at your best. And similar to like, an NBA player, WNBA player, you want to have people around you that can help you kind of reach that goal. And obviously that's where a lot of the coaching comes in, especially with sleep, or especially in like entrepreneurship. You see people working 20 hours a day trying to crank out some work. But then, like you were mentioning, like, is that work quality? Is that work actually, driving results for your team? Probably not. But if you give yourself that, extra time to actually sleep, you can think more clearly to like do what you need to do.